Today's Chiefs Report is presented by RexMD. Go to rexmd.com/chat. Get a heavy discount of branded or generic Cialis or Viagra. That link is in the comments and the description of this video. Let's go ahead and jump on in here. My name is Harrison Graham. Got some rumors to address here. Jason Pierre-Paul, a name we actually have not discussed here on the Chiefs Report, still wants to play, a free agent right now, and CBS Sports kind of did an article where they play edge matchmaker, some of the big-name edge free agents remaining on the open market, and they had the Chiefs signing JPP. So let's discuss this, and I'll give my thoughts to whether or not I think he could be a fit. Jeff Kerr, who wrote this article, played matchmaker, said that no longer the dominant edge rusher he once was, Pierre-Paul would be better suited as a number 3 or number 4 pass rusher on a contending team. Enter Kansas City, which has George Karlaftis and Charles Omenihu as starters, and first-round pick Felix Anudike-Uzomah as a developmental player, set to take more snaps later in the year. Pierre-Paul would fit in as an edge rusher who can just focus on going after the quarterback in Steve Spagnuolo's defense. And in theory, that makes sense, right? Like, if you want to go the cheaper, lesser role route, like JPP could be an option, but I also think there's other options for that and more productive other options than that. I mean, the last 2 years, he's only got 5.5 sacks. His pressure rate is pretty low, and he's just simply not really even that close to the player he once was. He's kind of a shell of his former self. He's pretty washed. I mean, I'll just be honest. Like, I'll call a spade a spade. JPP is pretty washed. I'm not saying he can't get an occasional sack. He had 3 last year, okay, but he's got injury problems. He's old. You know, there's some aging guys that were discussed in this article, but I just think you can find better value elsewhere, even if it is for the vet minimum or just slightly more. Now, would you sign JPP? Maybe you disagree. I'm kind of going to go ahead and pass here. Type S for sign or P for pass. Curious what you guys think on this one down in the comments section. Now, this is CBS's predictions, matchmaking here. Yannick Ngakoue to the Bears was one. That's been a popular one in recent weeks and months. Jadeveon Clowney to the Saints. Justin Houston to the Ravens. Melvin Ingram to the Patriots. And Jason Pierre-Paul to the Chiefs. And I kind of looked at this and I was like, I like JPP the worst out of all 5 of these players. I'd rather have Ngakoue. I'd rather have Clowney. I'd rather have Houston. I'd even rather have Melvin Ingram, who had double the sacks that JPP had a year ago. He had 6 for Miami, while JPP had just 3. I just think that, sure, if you want to go the cheap route, you can do that, but I don't think a lot of those guys are going to break the bank. Like Ngakoue and Clowney, yeah, they might cost a little bit more, but a guy like Melvin Ingram should not cost much more than the vet minimum. I do get the sentiment from CBS where they're like, yeah, you know, you don't need a starter necessarily. Yeah, I get that. But like Melvin Ingram as a rotation pass rusher or JPP, I'm taking Melvin Ingram all day. Now, if Melvin Ingram somehow gets $7-8 million on the open market, okay, sure, like I'm not going to pay that. But if it's JPP vet minimum or Melvin Ingram for $3.5 million, I will go ahead and pay the extra $1 or $2 to get him in here. That's just how I see it. It's nothing against JPP. It's just he's kind of fallen off a cliff, and he's kind of done it pretty quickly. Today's show, like I mentioned, sponsored by RexMD. And fellas, do you sometimes lack that confidence in the bedroom? No worries. RexMD is here to help you out and help you fulfill that sex life that you desire. That's why we're excited to tell you about the #1 online source for men's wellness. RexMD offers an easy and discreet way to get the medication that you need for ED without having to visit a doctor's office. With just a few clicks, you can have your medication delivered straight to your door and at a fraction of the cost of traditional pharmacies. RexMD's team of licensed physicians will work with you to find the right treatment plan, and their medication is made in the USA, so you can trust its quality. Plus, their customer support team is available 24/7 to answer any concerns or questions that you may have. So if you're ready to take control of your sex life and say goodbye to ED, head on over to rexmd.com/chat. Start your consultation today. You can get up to 90% off and just pay $2 per dosage with RexMD by using our link, rexmd.com/chat. That link is in the comments and in the description. Click and shop today. Get started and change your sex life for the better. Okay, let's get to the next story here. Remember when Ja'Marr Chase was asked who the best quarterback in the NFL is? Obviously, he said Joe Burrow, I got no problem with that. That's his teammate. But then he said, Patrick Mahomes who? Like, who's that? Yeah, I think we all know who. And Travis Kelce took, I wouldn't say offense to that, but he got a word in on the New Heights podcast that he does with his brother Jason Kelce. Here's what Trav had to say about Ja'Marr Chase here. He said, shout out to Ja'Marr Chase for holding it down for his quarterback, but don't you ever disrespect Patrick Mahomes. Now, if you want to talk your shit, you pimp, you just better back it up. I almost overread that. Can't leave that out. I thought it was a little bold. Mahomes is a two-time league MVP, two-time Super Bowl MVP. To say Pat who is like, I don't know. And that's kind of my whole thing, too. It's like, look, I don't really have a problem with you defending your quarterback. He's not better than the Chiefs quarterback, but hey, like, Burrow's really good. He's elite. He ain't Mahomes, but he is very, very good. I've got more thoughts on this, just things I want to point to just kind of clear up any sort of debate, if there is one, between these two gunslingers. But just a perfect time to subscribe to the channel. I know it's kind of the slow part of the off season, but before you know it, the calendar will say July within about a week, 10 days or so, and that'll mean Chiefs football is back because training camp gets going in late July, preseason in August. NFL season's going to be here before you know it. So we're going to have you covered throughout the off season and on into the season as well. So hit that subscribe button. It's youtube.com/ChiefsTV. And, you know, some people like Burrow better than Mahomes. I don't, but let's just look at the numbers. Completion percentage, and this is like just per game stats, right? Because, you know, volume stats Mahomes is going to have because he started 2 more seasons. But completion percentage, marginal advantage for Burrow. Yards per game, pretty clearly Mahomes. Touchdown interception ratio, which you could argue is the most important, clearly Mahomes. Almost 4 touchdowns per pick. Burrow just over 2.5. Yards per attempt, bigger plays downfield. That's Mahomes. Passer rating, that's Mahomes as well. So I don't think one completion percentage point, especially when you consider the yards per attempt and the bigger plays, favors Mahomes. I don't think that's enough to outweigh. Then, let's just pull up what they've accomplished in terms of winning and accolades, right? 2 Super Bowl wins for Mahomes, Burrow 0. 2 Super Bowl MVPs, Burrow 0. 2 NFL MVPs, Burrow 0. 5 conference championship game appearances, Burrow 2. 3 Super Bowl appearances, Burrow 1. So anyway you slice it, look, I guess if Burrow goes the next 2 Super Bowls and wins them both and wins MVP both in the Super Bowl and in the regular season, and Mahomes doesn't do any of that in the next 2 years, yeah, like the gap's closer if that happens. But that seems pretty unlikely to do that in back-to-back seasons, considering Mahomes has run the AFC for 5 years now. The point is don't let anyone tell you that Burrow is better than Mahomes. It's not true. The numbers don't tell it. The accolades don't tell it. You know, there's really nothing to point to that would suggest that Burrow is the better quarterback at the end of the day. I love Burrow. For me, he's probably the second best quarterback in the NFL. I would rather have him than Josh Allen because he takes better control of the football, but there's no one better than Mahomes doing it right now. That's just a cold, hard fact. Now, let quarterback 1, Patrick Mahomes, know that you have his back, Chiefs Kingdom. Type 15 in the chat. Not that anyone needs to have his back, but, you know, Travis Kelce's always going to have his back. Get the 15s flowing in the comment section. Let's talk about 15's number 1 receiver, potentially, Kadarius Toney, which, you know, that could leave you, have you pause a little and be like, is he ready for that? Well, let's discuss that here because unless the Chiefs sign DeAndre Hopkins, Toney's in line to win that job, be that top wide receiver target for Mahomes. That's what's kind of been discussed this offseason. That's what we've talked about. You've got good depth here at the position, right? With Toney, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Sky Moore, who had a big spring, Rashee Rice, the rookie wide receiver out of SMU, Richie James, Justin Watson, Justin Ross, who did some good things in the offseason program. The depth is not the concern. Do you have a guy that can be a true number 1? Now, Juju was your number 1 last year, and he wasn't that true alpha, so you don't need someone to go out there and give you 1,300 yards as long as you're spreading the ball around. But with Kadarius Toney, a couple of things are clear. One, he's got the talent to be a number 1 in this league. He can run the routes, yards after the catch. He can do all that stuff. He can be special with the ball in his hands. But on the flip side, does he have the drive to be a consistent week in and week out player? Because he's been very inconsistent at times in his career with the Giants. He was completely unreliable. Now, I thought he came into Kansas City and he's been more of a pro so far, small sample size, but he has. He obviously sparked this team both in the offense and on special teams in the Super Bowl. So you like to see and hear that. But Can he put it together week in, week out? That's what makes these superstars great in this league. They do it over and over and over and over and over again. And obviously, he has not proven to be able to do that yet. Young player, young career, but that is something I am watching for as we head into 2023. Now, do you believe Kadarius Toney can be wide receiver 1? Type B for believe, D for don't. Again, the talent is there to do so. Would I bank on it? That's a little bit of a different story. So curious to see what you guys think. B for believe or type D for don't. I'll just make my position clear. It's not that I don't even think he can do it, but as long as DeAndre Hopkins is out there, I still want him. Like, I would bring him in, even if it's on a one-year deal. It helps bridge the gap. You bring back almost the same exact offense outside of offensive tackle shuffling, and you replace Juju with Hopkins. That's pretty appealing to me if you could pull that off this offseason. So keep an eye on that. We'll see if Hopkins ends up in Kansas City or not. Obviously, we're hoping for big things with Kadarius Toney, but if you could get DeAndre in here, you could be cooking with gas. All right, guys, that's it for today's Chiefs Report. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Hit me up on Twitter if we could talk some Chiefs football at HGramNFL. We'll see you soon here on the channel.